Today is Good Friday. After the irony of yesterday's reading, we ruefully use the name Good Friday to describe one of the greatest horrors that has ever been. Jesus, the image of love, who was so generous and life-giving, so holy and perfect, so gracious and true and just, is beaten and broken, is not just killed, not just murdered by a plot against him, but is left to die, is nailed up and tortured and left to publicly suffocate. We're reading about the crucifixion story in John chapter 19. And we're going from verse 16 all the way down to 37. Often when we read the crucifixion stories, we have all of the Gospels in our head. We blend the stories together. But it's important to recognize some of the unique features in each story because they give us a vantage point and a perspective on Jesus that takes us somewhere deeper. See, in John, he doesn't speak of Jesus needing help carrying the cross. He doesn't speak of Jesus' conversations with the criminals who are being crucified alongside him. Jesus gives up his spirit rather than passes away. There is this sense of the focus being solely on him, and Jesus, even in the way that he breathes his last breath, being entirely in control, this being the ultimate act of obedience to his Father. I think one thing we don't appreciate because of all the art that we've seen around Easter is that this wasn't something that happened on a green hill far away. Crucifixion was a political punishment, and it was meant to be a warning, a mix of the stocks found in medieval England and the guillotine in revolutionary France. This happened by a busy roadside on a way into Jerusalem during the biggest festival. The charges against Jesus are written in multiple languages to make sure they speak to everyone who would walk past. This is the charge against him. He would call himself King of the Jews. He is naked as he dies. The hyssop that is used to give Jesus a drink when he is thirsty, that's not a big, sturdy plant. It's not tied to a bamboo cane and lifted high up. Jesus is within reaching distance. Roman crosses were lower than often what we imagine. That title above Jesus' head, King of the Jews, is mocking, not just of Jesus, but of God's story, of the way that God has chosen a special people and has led them by his Spirit, has anointed leaders that he would be their king. It's a warning against anyone trying to inhabit or reclaim that story or follow God in that way. Jesus has his clothes removed. The last time he has removed his clothes was to wash his friends' feet. And once again, his clothes are removed to serve humanity, to humiliate himself and pour himself out once again in a greater way. The fullness of Jesus' humanity is revealed. He thinks of his mother, cares for her, sets her up with another disciple. He is tender in the midst of the terror. He is gentle, even to the end. He cries out those famous words, "It is finished." Not just a sense of that's it, it's all over. But that word was used often to describe the fulfillment of a holy vow or a religious duty. The sacrifice has been completed. I have kept my promises. I have been obedient to the end. It is completed. The works that I came to do from my Father have been done. And the completeness is not just bound up in his lifetime and his mission. The completeness is the story of the scriptures. And that's why all throughout this reading, there are quotations and Bible verses, and Jesus fulfills each of them along the way. Because despite the warnings of the Romans as they nail King of the Jews above his head, he is coming to fulfill God's story, the whole story. He is coming to concentrate all of the narrative threads of what God has been doing through history, through him at the cross. And he makes that the point of salvation, the point of hope, the point of rescue. Everything has been leading to now. All of it finds its completion and its fullness and its fulfillment in the cross. I pray today that you would read this passage slowly, deliberately, carefully. We are sending out a digital Stations of the Cross that you can use to walk today. It has pieces of art, it has scripture readings, and I hope it encourages you to just encounter Jesus at the cross afresh. But I pray that something of all you are, all your life story, all your identity, all your purpose, all your family history would be concentrated at this point where you meet with Jesus at the cross today, and it would change you.